Hello, my yarny friends. I'm Sara Sach. Welcome back to my crochet channel. Today's video, I'm going to show you how to crochet the Go Bananas Ponchette. And I'm calling it a ponchette because although it is a poncho, it's a little bit shorter. And of course, the length that you make it is totally up to you. Now, this poncho has 4 sizes. It is a big, roomy, stretchy poncho, perfect for spring, summer, and even fall wearing. And if you live in warmer climates all year round, just to add a little extra to say a sundress or tank top. It'll look adorable over a bathing suit top and some jean shorts. Just lots of different ways. It's a great take along for a vacation as well. Been in the sun all day. In the evening, it might be a little chilly. Just toss on this poncho and you're good to go. All right, so we'll talk about yarn in just a minute, but I do want to talk about sizing. And the way this pattern is written is you have 4 sizes. You have a extra small, you have a medium large, you have a extra large 2X, and then you have a 3X, 4X. And we sized it this way because it is a big, roomy, comfortable shawl type poncho that you can just toss on at the minute's notice. There's no buttons, there's no extras, just the poncho. And I just love it. Once you get started with the top, the repeat rows are a mesh stitch, and it's super easy. You make it as long as you want, and we'll talk more about all of that when we get started with the pattern. But once you've got it the length that you want, you just add this row of double crochet, and you're done and ready to go. It's also a great take-along project if you're going on vacation. Now you can find the complete pattern with all the measurements and pictures and lots of extra information on my blog. And as always, I'll put that blog link down in the notes underneath this video. So the yarn that I used for this project is Premier Sweet Roll Fruits, and this is the banana colorway. And I think you can see why it's called that. It's so beautiful. But of course, you can use any medium weight number 4 yarn you have on hand. And as a matter of fact, because this is such a busy yarn, I'm going to be using these 2 yellows for the swatch demonstration. That way you can see what I'm doing, all right? Because although I love all the movement in this yarn, it can be a little bit much for when we video, okay? Now, let's talk about how much yarn you need for sizing, okay? Now, the extra small size, you're going to need 7 ounces. For the medium large size, you're going to need 9 ounces. For the extra large 2X, you're going to need 11 ounces. And for the 2X, 3X, you're going to need 13 ounces. And that is if you make it the length that I made. If you want to make it longer, because you may want a longer poncho, and you can make it as many as you want as far as the repeats, because remember, once we get going, it's just mesh stitches until it's the length that you want. And if you are going to make it longer, of course, you're going to need more yarn. You can use any medium weight number 4 yarn for this. You can even use a medium weight number 4 cotton if you prefer. I just really loved this yarn for this project. We're going to be stitching today with our eye hook, which is a 5.5 millimeter crochet hook. And we're doing that because we want it to be loose and open and comfortable. You're just going to need a needle to weave in ends and a pair of scissors. All right, let's get started. All right, just to give you just a little bit more information, if you're going to make the extra small size, the opening of the neck is about 31 inches. If you're making the medium large size, it's about 34 inches. If you're doing the extra large 2X, the neck opening is about 37 inches. And if you're doing the 3X, 4X, the neck opening is going to be about 40 inches. All right. And that's just the opening of the neck. Of course, it will increase in size as we make it. Okay, but we want a nice neck on it so it doesn't slide off your shoulders. All right. Now, of course, we're going to need to make a different number of chains per size. Now, of course, we're going to need to chain a different number per size. So if you're making the extra small small, you're going to need to chain 86 chains. If you're making the medium large, you're going to need to chain 92 chains. If you're making the extra large 2X, you're going to need to chain 98 chains. And if you're making the 3X, 4X size, you're going to need to chain 104 chains. So what I recommend is that you chain for the size you're making, measure your neck opening on you, because remember, these are approximates because some of us chain tighter, some of us chain looser, and our tensions are different. I do recommend on this beginning chain that you chain just a little bit loose because we want it to be open, like I said, loose and comfy. I'm going to be making the smallest size, the extra small small, for our demonstration. All right, so I'm going to begin with my slip knot, and I'm going to chain 86 chains, just a little bit loose. Something I do recommend when you're making a long chain is to grab your stitch markers. Mine are right over here. And every 10 chains, mark it with a stitch marker. Then you don't have to keep recounting as you go, because it can be a little bit frustrating to have to keep recounting. All right, so I would suggest every 10, add a stitch marker to keep track. I have chained my 86 chains. You can see I marked it every 10. So 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, and then 6 more. All right, and that's the way that I do it to help me keep track, and I don't have to keep recounting over and over again. All right, so I'm just popping these out real quick. All right, I've got all my stitch markers out. And now what we're going to do is we're going to double crochet in the 4th chain from the hook. 1, 2, 3, 4. And now we're just going to stitch 1 double crochet in each of our chains, working all the way across our row. We began in the 4th chain from the hook, and this chain 3 here counts as our first double crochet. And we're just going to stitch 1 double crochet in each of the chains, working all the way across our row. And this will give us a nice sturdy band at the top of our poncho, or ponchette, whatever you want to call it. We began in the 4th chain from the hook, and again our chain 3 here that we skipped counts as our first stitch. 1 double crochet in each of our chains around. We're going to join to that chain 3 with a slip stitch and chain 3. Now we have a gap here, right? So we're going to take that tail of yarn that we started with. There we go. We're going to put these ends together and just weave that in. And you want to do that securely because you don't want that coming undone. All right, now we're finished with row 1. All right, so for row 1, your extra small, you're going to have 84 double crochets. For your medium large, you're going to have 90. For your extra large 2X, you're going to have 96. And for your 3X, 4X, you're going to have 102 double crochets. All right, so now we're going to do row 2. On row 2, your chain 3 counts as your first, and we're just going to stitch 1 double crochet in each of those double crochets around. And we're just setting up a nice band around the neck. We're not going to be adding any stitches to this row. 1 double crochet in each of those double crochets, working all the way around. And this is the same for all sizes. It's just if you made the larger sizes, you'll have more double crochets. I also want to mention to watch your gauge or tension, because we do want this to be a loose, lacy fitting poncho or ponchette, so don't stitch too tightly. One double crochet in each of our double crochets all the way around, and we'll join back to our chain 3. I stitched 1 double crochet in each of my double crochets around. I joined to my chain 3 and chained 3. And you're going to have the same amount of stitches that you had on your first row. All right, so now what we're going to do, let's get this turned around here. We're going to double crochet in the same stitch as our chain 3. We're going to chain 2, 1, 2. We're going to skip 1 double crochet and stitch 2 double crochets in the next. 1 and 2. Chain 2. Skip 1 double crochet and stitch 2 double crochets in the next. And what we're doing on this row is spreading that out a little bit so that it flares in order for the shoulders to fit properly. All right, so 2 double crochets, chain 2, skip 1, 2 double crochets in the next, chain 2, skip 1, and repeat. 2 double crochets, chain 2, skip 1, and repeat. And we'll do this all the way around. And you'll see, turn it around this way so you can see better, that it's going to start flaring out. All right, so chain 2, skip 1, 2 double crochets in the next, and repeat all the way around for all sizes. All right. The pattern is the same for all sizes. The only difference is the larger sizes have more stitches. All right, so 2 double crochets in the next, chain 2, skip 1, and repeat all the way around, and then we'll join back to our chain 3. I have now completed row 3, and you can see how it flares out more. Now, if you did the extra small small, you're going to have 42 sets of 2 double crochet, chain 2. If you did the medium large, you're going to have 45 sets. If you did the 2X, extra large 2X, you're going to have 48 sets. And if you did the 3X, 4X, you're going to have 51 sets of the 2 double crochet, chain 2. All right, so we join to our chain 3 with a slip stitch. We're going to go in that space between those 2 double crochets and slip stitch, chain 4. This chain 4 counts as a double crochet, chain 1. Now we're going to go in the next chain 2 space, stitch a double crochet and chain 1. Now we'll go in between the next 2 double crochets, stitch a double crochet, chain 1. All right, and so this is our repeat around. We're going to double crochet in each of the chain 2 spaces and chain 1, and double crochet between each of the 2 double crochets and chain 1. And we'll do this all the way around. And this will give us a mesh row. Double crochet in the chain 2 space and chain 1. Double crochet between the next 2 double crochets and chain 1. And see how that makes that mesh row? And we'll do this all the way around this row. Again, 1 double crochet between the next 2 double crochets, chain 1, 1 double crochet in the chain 2 space, chain 1, and repeat all the way around. All right, so we'll do this all the way around, and then we'll join back to the 3rd chain of that beginning chain 4. So I have completed row 4, which is our mesh stitch, double crochet, chain 1, double crochet all the way around. All right, so now we're going to stitch our last chain 1 and join to the 3rd chain of our beginning chain 4. And now we're going to chain 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. It counts as a double crochet, chain 1, and we're going to double crochet in that same chain 3 stitch. And so what we've done is made a V-stitch. And now we're going to chain 2. All right, we're going to skip the next double crochet, and in the next double crochet, we're going to stitch a V-stitch, which is double crochet, chain 1, and double crochet. And then we'll chain 2. We'll skip the next double crochet and stitch our V-stitch in the next double crochet. Again, double crochet, chain 1, double crochet is our V-stitch, and chain 2. All right, and this is our repeat all the way around. Skip the next double crochet, chain 1, double crochet, which is our V-stitch in the next, and chain 2. Skip, V-stitch in the next, and chain 2. Skip the next, V-stitch in the next, and chain 2. All right, and see how that pattern works up? We're stitching in every other double crochet V-stitch, chain 2, skip the double crochet, V-stitch, chain 2, skip the next double crochet, all the way around. Skip, V-stitch in the next, chain 2, and we're going to do this all the way around our poncho, and then again join back to that third chain of our chain 4. I have now completed row 5, and you can see how much fuller it makes it and how pretty it is, and I just really love this pattern. All right, so now we're ready to begin our regular mesh stitch rows. These first 5 rows set us up, and now we can do the mesh stitch rows. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to slip stitch in this chain 1 space and chain 5. All right, I'm going to bring the camera in closer. Our chain 5 counts as a double crochet, chain 2. Now we're going to go in the chain 2 space and stitch a double crochet, chain 2. Now we're going to go in the chain 1 space of our V-stitch and double crochet, chain 2. We'll go in the next chain 2 space and stitch a double crochet, chain 2. We'll go in the next chain 1 space, double crochet, chain 2. And we're going to repeat this all the way around because we're getting all set up for our mesh rows to repeat for the length of our poncho or ponchette. Either way is fine. Ponchette just means small or short with that "et" on the end. All right, so we're going to stitch a double crochet in each of the chain 1 spaces and a double crochet in each of the chain 2 spaces and chain 2 in between. So double crochet, chain 2, double crochet, chain 2, all the way around our poncho. And then we'll join back to that chain or that third chain of our chain 5. And see how quickly that goes? I love it. All right, so we're going to continue this all the way around and join back to the third chain of our chain 5. I have now completed row 6, and this sets us up for the mesh stitch rows that we're going to repeat for the remainder of the poncho. Okay, and so what we did is we did our double crochets, chain 2 all the way around, placing 1 in the chain 2 space and 1 in the chain 1 spaces of our V stitches. All right, I joined to my chain 3 with a slip stitch and I chained 5. All right, so now I'm going to show you how those mesh stitch rows will work. So for row 7, we're not going to be stitching in those chain 2 spaces. We're going to be stitching in the double crochets. So I chained 5, which counts as a double crochet, chain 2. Now I'm going to go to the double crochet, stitch a double crochet, chain 2. Then I'll go to the next double crochet, chain 2. And that's how the mesh stitch rows will work. We'll double crochet in the next double crochet, and chain 2. So we won't be increasing anymore. As far as the width is concerned. Now we're working on the length of our poncho. All right, and see how that will work? We're stitching our double crochets in our double crochets with chain 2s in between all the way around. So double crochet in the double crochet and chain 2, double crochet in the double crochet and chain 2, and we'll repeat this working all the way around our poncho again. And again we'll join to that third chain of our beginning chain 5. So we've now completed row 7 on our swatch, okay? And you can see how the mesh pattern works. We stitch our double crochet and our double crochet and chain 2. Then when we finished all around, we joined to our third chain of the chain 5 and then chain 5, all right? And so now what you're going to do is you're going to repeat row 7 for 15 more rows or more if you want it to be a longer poncho. If you're wanting a ponchette and you want it a little bit shorter, just to wear over the top of a sundress or something, you'll need to repeat this for 15 more rows. And if you want it longer, repeat it for as many rows as you want, because we're not increasing the width anymore. Now all we're doing is working on the length of our poncho. All right, so you're going to repeat row 7 for 15 or more rows. So here is my actual poncho that I made using the exact same pattern and technique. And we have our double crochet rows, our double crochet chain rows, then we have our mesh row in there, then our V-stitch rows, and then we set up for our mesh rows, and then my mesh rows all the way up through row 22, which is where you'll be when you do those additional 15 rows of repeating row 7. Now, this one measures, and let me show you. And this, I'm going to measure the trim as well. We're going to do the trim in just a second. But if you want this to be 14 inches long, that's all the more rows you'll want to do. If you want this to be a longer poncho, say you want it to go down to your hips, you can do row 7 for as many times as you want to for the length of the poncho that you want. Just keep in mind, you're going to need more yarn. All right, and so this is how it should look at this point. Isn't that gorgeous with this yarn? I just love this banana yarn. Okay, so now I'm going to show you, I'm going to use my swatch, but I'm going to show you how to just add this simple double crochet trim. And it's really necessary because you don't want the end of your poncho to curl up. And this will give it a nice, firm trim. So once you've done as many rows as you want on your poncho or ponchette, you're going to join to that third chain of the chain 5 at the beginning, and then you're going to want to chain 3. 1, 2, 3. And I've switched back to this other yellow just so that you can see the difference when I'm stitching with this lighter color. All right, so you'll only chain 3 instead of chain 4. And then in that chain 2 space, you're going to stitch 2 double crochets, 1 and 2. Then in the double crochet, you'll just stitch 1 double crochet, 2 double crochets in the chain 2 space, and 1 double crochet in the double crochet. And I like doing this. I didn't put any fancy trim on it. just a basic double crochet because I like having a nice solid row that will keep that poncho laying nicely. It drapes really nice. The only thing is you don't want the end of it curling up. And if you just leave it like this, you can. It's pretty, but it will start curling up on you. And so this gives it just a nice solid row of double crochets to keep that edge from curling up. It'll give it a little weight to help it lay. All right, and so that's what you'll do all the way around the bottom edge of your poncho or ponchette. 2 double crochets in the chain 2 space, 1 double crochet in the double crochet. So you're not adding any more width to it. You're just adding a nice row of double crochets. And once you've stitched that all the way around, you're going to join back to that chain 3, and then you'll tie off and weave in your end. And that's all there is to making our Go Bananas poncho or ponchette. So here is my completed poncho again. Ponchette or poncho, whatever you want to call it. You can see it's wide, it's roomy, and this is the extra small. So keep that in mind that this is intended to be loose fitting and comfortable. You can even slide it down on your shoulders if you want to. But here's that trim, and see how it just helps it have a little bit of weight at the bottom. I just wanted to keep it nice and simple so you could throw it in your beach bag, and that way if you're out all day, your arms get sunburnt, throw this on. Or maybe you're just going out in the evening wearing a sundress, you can throw this on. Okay? And it would be beautiful in lots of colors. Ombres, or even just get in your yarn stash and put some colors together. It's a super easy, super simple poncho to make, and it's one I think everyone of every size would love to make one and wear it.